It's worse by a mile, and I'm stunned at how the voting is going. Now, some people...
Right now it is 54% feel better, 46% feel worse.
Stunning to me. Some familiar with my opinions heading into camp know that I may have said that 0 wins was in play. Mm-hmm. So they may feel it's a little like you were predicting 0 wins and you feel worse about the team now than when you were predicting 0 wins.
What happens? Are they moving the team?
Well, that would be bad.
I'm saying, how could it get worse than 0 wins?
I don't know. Maybe your best player has blood clots and may not play this season. Like, that's where I would just start, 1. And then there's a million of those. Like, I think there's a lot of people. John and I were just talking off air about sort of the rotating cast of characters at tackle. Heading into camp, if you're an optimist, I think you'd probably say, well, maybe Okorafor is going to lock down left tackle. Has not happened. They rotated. We got day 4 of Vidarian Lowe, which came after 3 days of Wallace, which came after 3 days of Okorafor. So that tells me they have no idea who's playing left tackle. And Drake May. I was an optimist coming out of the spring. I like Drake May. I am not sounding any alarms or pushing any panic buttons, but I think people that thought this team might have some expectations of hope this year probably said, well, Drake May is going to open some eyes. He's going to be C.J. Stroud. He's not C.J. Stroud yet. So the left tackle still stinks. The young quarterback that everybody's banking on has done nothing to say he's going to be ready earlier, sooner rather than later. But most importantly for me, your best player on defense, Christian Barmore, no one has any idea. It's a health issue. It's not a football issue. When he's going to be available. Oh, and your second best player is in a ongoing contract dispute that I'm not just going to put to bed because the head coach said we've moved on. You can't say we've moved on. I've learned this lesson fighting my wife many times. Just because I say the fight is over does not mean the fight is over, correct?
Correct. And we did, as I said before, we just got some Matthew Judon sound clips that we're going to play for you from him meeting with the media. Very strange start to that.
Oh, yeah. It's always something with him.
It was like a Step Brothers routine where he brings Jelani Tavai up to the mic with him as his kind of representative and is whispering in his ear. And that cuteness went on for 2 questions. And then he got in front of the mic and didn't sound the happiest we've heard Matthew Judon.
I would argue that cuteness ended before it started because this is a legitimate press conference. This isn't just like, ooh, fun day 10 of training camp.
So you want them to take it more seriously?
You're in a contract dispute. You were arguing with the head coach and the GM.
Another guy that got paid right around him, too.
One of the guys that he would be jealous of, his buddy Tavai.
Well, what did we talk about on Saturday? Matthew Judon lines up for a rep, looks around. Half the guys around him got paid this offseason, whether it was Barmore, Godshaw, Peppers, Tavai, across from him, Mike Onwenu, Stevenson, and then the one guy he brings up with him is one of those guys.
So lonely.
Yeah.
So, John Lyons, how are you feeling?
So
better or worse?
I feel better, but with a lowercase b. I'll tell you what. No, Andy, there's one reason and one reason only. Think back to how awful their quarterback play was last year. Seriously, Mac Jones and Baylor, how awful that was. Jacoby Brissett could be the 25th best QB in the NFL this year, and it would be a lot better than what we saw out of Jones and Zappi. So that alone, they lost the game to the Chargers 6-0 in December. They turned the football over 4 times in the first 20 minutes against Buffalo and lost the game by 6 at the end of the year. So what I'm saying is that alone makes me feel better, lowercase b. But there's a lot. Look,
but didn't you know that heading into camp? I may have misread the assignment here. I knew Jacoby Brissett was the starter in the spring. I thought this was an immediate reaction to 10 practices.
So 10 practices in, though, their quarterback situation's better than it was a year ago. And that alone is better off. You're in a better place. But there's a lot to not like, too. I mean, you and I were there Saturday. Yeah, you and I were there Saturday. What do we have, 8 to 10 guys saunter out late during stretch period?
Coach Lyons didn't like that.
No, that still bothers me 2 days later, right? But you have 8 to 10 guys sauntering out late. So this is buttoned up as it need to be. And how about the little comment from Judon today? And I know we're going to play his sound in a bit, but he had one little comment where he said, Elliot Wolf messaged me, so I came back out. Our GM. You think a year ago they would have said, yeah, Bill texted me and I came back outside. Little tiny things like that. I went back and looked last year.
Wait, and you voted better?
Because, look, that's how important the quarterback situation is.
You're talking about a dysfunctional place.
Right? Vidarian Lowe is your left tackle. Don't love that, right? But even with Barmore out, your defense is going to be legit. And your special teams. I know we don't love to talk about special teams. It's not great radio from 2 to 6 p.m. usually. Mm-hmm. How bad was their special teams last year? They were the only team in the league to miss multiple field goals between 30 to 39 yards.
Yeah, and that kicker's still here, missing field goals in practice. He stinks too.
Yeah, I'm not telling you. Even if their special teams is 20th, it's going to be a huge upgrade.
Okay, so how'd you vote? I need somebody to sway me.
We're only 10 minutes in, and we're already at this. But the special teams,
but
they have competition for the kicker.
Lowercase b. better? Like, are they going to win 6 games instead of 4? Like, that's where I'm at. I'm not sitting here telling you you're going to win 8 or 9 games. Are they going to win 6 or 7 instead of 4?
Or 0 instead of 2?
I don't think they're going to win 0. I think
the first preseason game is just a few days away. If you want to weigh in on whether you feel better or worse now that you've gotten a taste of the Patriots in training camp, the number is 617-779-7937. You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/BostonWEEI. You can also find us on YouTube at WEEI Videos, plus the free Odyssey app, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can catch up with anything that you've missed. I'm actually going to say that I feel better.
What?
There you go.
But I'm sorry to say that.
Are you drunk?
It's
People drinking these days?
It could be a lowercase b better.
Andy, it's because my starting point of expectations was so incredibly low. I was so frustrated by the lack of moves that they made in the offseason, where it's like, whee! Like, the best addition is Antonio Gibson, who I watched with Washington.
Actually, yeah, he's
kind of looked good.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, so I'm supposed to be excited about Antonio Gibson. Great, I'm supposed to be excited about KJ Osborne. None of this is moving the needle for me in the offseason. Now I'm starting to hear, especially over the last couple of days, we'll check in on what happened today, but the last couple of days, it's, hey, the offense isn't complete dog water. Okay, Polk seems like he's kind of a consistent guy. Pop Douglas, if he can get healthy, that might be your number one receiver, which could say something about your receiver room. But also, he's a nice little shifty guy. He's the kind of guy that you haven't had for a while down there. Mm-hmm. And on top of all that, I do agree that as low as the bar is, Jacoby Brissett definitely seems like your most functional starting quarterback since 2021, if not before that, because if you look back at who Mac Jones was in 2021, he could really only be that guy for 7 or 8 games straight. It was just a great stretch. Mm-hmm. I think we can all look back and say that. And so the bar is extremely low, but I do look at this and go, it feels like, compared to where they were before the season, they at least have some pieces to work with. That's not to say that there's not a ton of dysfunction down there. The Judon stuff is dysfunctional, okay? Yeah. And I don't think that he helped the case with the weird press conference that he just did, which we're going to get to. Mm-hmm. It's dysfunctional. It seems like, the Barmore thing couldn't have happened at a worse time. I'm happy that guy got his contract, but that was somebody who you were really expecting after the crest that he had at the end of last season, that he was going to be a star in this defense. So we'll see what his availability is. Just horrible luck. But I still vote better. I'm still with the majority of the people. I don't feel great about the team, but I felt so horrible before training camp began that I'm moving a little bit towards that way.
Somewhere
and I would
say, he's so proud. He's
I
brainwashed
know.
all you people.
But just building off that, too, like, I do feel better about their wide receiver room. And I'm not sitting here, Andy, telling you it's good, but their wide receiver room last year, I mean, you can pick whatever you want and say was the worst play of the season. For my money, was the week 2 interception Mac Jones threw where Devontae Parker just got shoved out of bounds on Sunday Night Football. Like, their receiver room is going to be, again, even if it's incrementally better, that cost them games last year. They would have beat the Commanders if they had receivers that played better.
Yeah, I'm not willing to say they're better this year.
Like, that's
the wide receivers. They're competitive. They're exactly what I
think they're
expected.
better than they were a year. I mean, what did they get out of Parker? Cost them a game against the Raiders too. Like that.
Honestly, if they get rid of Juju, I think
he was repping with the third team.
It is a real case, a rare and real case of addition by subtraction if Juju and Parker are not on the team.
I would agree with that. But you're putting a lot of eggs in young baskets.
Right. If Baker and Polk can be even slightly better than those two, then I think you've got a pretty different receiving room.
I would agree with that. The problem is they're young, and Baker is a true wild card.
And I think you got to see what you get out of Bourne, because Bourne was on pace to have his best season of his career last year.
If Bourne is out there, it changes everything.
Right.
He just hasn't been out there yet. He's on PUP. When does that happen? And then the same thing with Douglas. He clearly changes everything if he can be out there. Get rid of the red jersey. Get out there. Show me you can. Weirdest thing today, they were doing kick returns, and they had him as the off returner, as the lead blocker. I'm like, whoa. He might be your most important receiver, and he's the littlest guy on the team. Why is he leading through on these kickoffs that people are now telling me are meaningless?